Okay, here we are on our math windows of day one in the Pathstone workbook. Okay, the math windows are like little problems that sometimes use math that we've just done, or sometimes math that we're going to be doing in this day's lesson, or sometimes even math that we haven't done yet. But they're a mixture of different kinds of things that you have to do. So they're good practice because it's more like what the test would be like. Also, you'll see some word problems. Word problems, the way the test is, from what I hear, the test is mostly word problems. So you have to read the problems and decide what you're going to be doing. Okay, number one. Now, at any point, you can stop, pause the video, and try it on your own. If you're not sure, then watch the video to see how it's explained. Okay? Write a fraction that represents the shaded part of the picture below. So fractions, how do we represent fractions? Fractions have a top and a bottom. The top is called the numerator. I'll write that over here, please. Numerator. You don't have to do this. And the bottom is called the denominator. Denominator. Numerator and the denominator. Okay, you don't have to know those terms. What do they mean though? Why are there two different numbers? Okay, the bottom number is the size of the fraction. And by size, we mean how many pieces was it cut up into? How many equal pieces was it divided into? This rectangle was divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces. And how many are they choosing? They're shading one of the six. So this is one of the 6 pieces, and we say 1/6, written like this. 1/6. 1/6. This fraction is 1/6. Okay? Very easy. If they had colored 4 of them, it would be 4/6. Okay? That's how we represent a fraction. Of course, we'll be doing fractions later in the lessons. Scott changed the oil in his car when the odometer read 35,297 miles. The next time he changed the oil, the odometer read 38,874 miles. How many miles did he drive between oil changes? Okay, so you can try it on your own. Like I said, pause the video, read it, try to solve the problem on your own, then run the video to check and see if you did it the right way. If you're sure, you can even skip that part and just go on if you're sure. Especially in the beginning here, we're doing some relatively easy math. I am sending you the digital papers, the digital form of this, right? I didn't print it out because it's hard to get things to people. Last time I was printing them out for everybody. Now you're being sent the digital format, and you can just read it right off your computer and work in a notebook if you want. You could run them off yourself if you want. And again, I'm only doing the math part. What I sent you has all the other parts of the lesson for the reading and the social studies, the science, the writing practice. We are going to be concentrating in our class almost entirely on the math. Okay, so how do we do this? An odometer shows you the mileage of a car. He changed his oil, it showed him this, and the next time he changed it, it showed him that number. What do you do to find out how many miles he drove between oil changes? Well, if you add them, you get like 73,000. That's a lot of miles to drive. No, he went from this number to that number. So what do? You subtract. And of course, you want to begin with the big number. What he finished with 38,874, 35,297. Now, they used to have you do all the subtraction and multiplying and dividing by hand on the test. But now they let you use a calculator that comes on your computer. Okay, let's look at it. 4, take away 7. Well, I'll do it subtracting, but you can just use your calculator. I brought along a little calculator here. Let's see. So he's finish with 38874. 38874. Always check to make sure you did it right. Now subtract 35297. 35297. Yep, equals 3577, and there it is. C. Okay. Now, how would you do it if you did it by hand? 4 take away 7. Can't do it. Borrow from the 7 becomes a 6. This becomes a 14. 14 take away 7 is 7. 6 take away 9. Can't do it. Borrow the 8 becomes a 7. The 6 becomes a 16. 16 take away 9 is 7. 7 take away 2 is 5. 8 take away 5 is 3. 3, 5, 7, 7. Woohoo! Okay. Use long division to solve the following problem. Well, this was at a time when you actually had to do it by hand, but now they let you use a calculator. There is no part where you have to do it by hand. So you put this number in first. 219,315 divided by, there it is up there, 24 equals 9138.125. That's what I got. 9138.125. Now, suppose you really had, you don't have to do this, but I'll just show you how we used to do, how us old timers used to have to do subtraction when we were in school. 24 into, doesn't go into 2, doesn't go into 21, into 219. Well, 2 goes into 21 10 times. But 10, you can't put 10. You have to do smaller than 10. How about 9? 9 times 4 is going to be 36. You're going to carry a 3. 9 times 2 is 18. And 3 is 19, 20, 21. Yeah, that'll work. So I put a 9 up here. 9 times 4 is 36. Put down the 6. Carry the 3 in my head. 9 times 2 is 18. And 3, 19, 20, 21. 9 take away 6 is 3. Bring down the 3. 24 into 33 goes 1 time. 1 times 24 is 24. 33 take away 24. Oops, can't even see. 33 take away 24 is 9. Bring down the 1. 24 into 9, 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8. And 1 is 9. Oop, 4 is going to be too big. I'll use a 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 2, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6. And 1 is 7. Into 195. Well, we can't do 9. That's too big. How about 8? Let's try 8. 8. Wait, no, we got to remember something. Where do we put the decimal point? Nope, the decimal point is still good. We don't need the decimal point yet. 8 times 4 is 32. Carry the 3. 8 times 2 is 16. And 3 is 19. Now, we could go on further. This was a point here, so we could put a point there. And we can bring down a 0. 24 to 0 goes 1 times 24 is 24. 6, bring down another 0. This time goes 2. 2 times 24 is 48. 12 left over, bring down a 0. And what? 5? Exactly, 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 minus 2 is 10. There I am. 9138.125. Thank heaven you don't have to do this, guys. You're allowed to use your calculator, but I'm using an old calculator. You're going to be using the one on a computer. Make sure you know how to use it and use it well, because if you make mistakes using your calculator, your answer is going to be wrong. Change the fraction to a decimal. This is a fraction. A decimal is another way to represent a number. Now this fraction, if you had a rectangle, you divide it into 5 places, 5 equal places, you're shading 4 of them. Now it's smaller than 1, because this is 1. It's smaller than 1. Well, let's check it out. The way to change a fraction to decimal is very easy. You just start with the numerator and you divide it by the denominator. 0.8. 0.8, which is another way of saying it is 8/10. With the decimal, you got tenths place. That's 8/10. 4/5 is the same as 8/10. Okay? Changing a decimal to a fraction is a little harder. You'd have to change this first to 8/10. And then you could reduce it. 2 goes into 8, 4. 2 goes into 5, 5. So I reduced it down to 4/5 by divided by 2. But going backwards is harder. It's easy to go from a fraction to decimal. You just use your calculator. Doing this one, you can't use a calculator when you want to start with the decimal. You have to use your brains. Okay, going on. What do we got? Compare and order numbers. This is called place value. When you see a big number, the number on the extreme right, that digit is the ones place. That digit on the extreme right is the ones place. Then you have the tens. Then you have the hundreds. This is what we mostly concentrate on in first grade, and then we start doing hundreds. But the next digit would be the thousands. This number doesn't have any thousands, doesn't have any 10,000s. It has 400,000s and 3 millions, 9 10 millions, and 0 100 millions, and 7 billions. All of these places represent a value in the number. Okay? This talks a little bit about rounding numbers. You can read through this before you start on your problems if you like. You can pause me away and read through this to make sure you understand what we're doing. These are symbols we use. Greater than, less than. 256 is greater than 95. 36 is less than 40. 600 is equal to 600. I like to use my right hand. So greater than is like that, whereas less than is very tiny, like that. But the easiest way to remember that we learned in first grade is that think of this as the mouth of like an alligator or something, right? And the alligator always eats the bigger number. So 9 is greater than 7. The alligator eats the 9. Whereas 4 is less than 8 because the alligator is eating the 8. Got it? That's how you remember. Which number is it eating? That's the bigger number. When you want to write the symbol, that's what you think of. Make it eat the bigger number. Okay, some practice. Look at this big number. How would you say it, by the way? Well, these are the thousands. These then are the millions. You have 1 million. You have 436,000. You have 879. Oh man, you don't even see what I'm showing. Again, you have 1 million. There's only 1 million on that side. Then the next three, you have 436,000 and 879. Okay, so we want, what number is in the hundred thousands place? Well, here are the thousands. That's the thousands, the 10,000s, and this is the 100,000s. How many numbers? How many are in the 100,000s? 4 are in the 100,000s. How about hundreds? Ones, tens, hundreds. The hundreds and the hundreds thousands are the ones on the left of the three together. 800s. Ones is the first number. 9 ones. Millions would be here after the 6. 1 million. Thousands. Here's the thousands. 6,000s. Tens. Ones, tens. 7 tens. 10,000s. If these are the ones, tens, hundreds, that's the thousands. That's the 10,000s. The 3. Okay. Now we're going to do something called rounding numbers. You round them to the different place, okay? So you have 544. You want to round that to the nearest hundred. What they want to know is this number, 544, is it closer to 500 or closer to 600? Sometimes we don't like to use the exact number. We just want to use a nice number people can remember. So we'll say there's around 500 or there's around 600. Well, when you want to round it to the hundreds, which is the 5, are we going to use the 5 or the 6? You look at the next number. If this number is small, less than 5, then we go down to 500. If this number is bigger than 5, then we go up to 600. This one, because it's a 4, it's smaller than 5, we round this down to 500. Try this one. Okay, you want to round to the nearest 10. The nearest 10 would be where the 7 is. So is it going to be 70 or 80? Well, 6 is above 5. That means we go up. 5 and up. 5 is right in the middle. But by convention, if it's a 5, we go up all the time, even though it's right in the middle. 76 would go up to 80 because 6 is bigger than 5. Now this one we're rounding to the nearest 100. This is the hundreds place. So they want to know, is the answer going to be 1,000 where it goes down to 0? Or is it going to be 1,100? Which is it closer to, 1,000 or 1,100? We're doing to the nearest 100. The 0 or the 1, not the nearest 1,000, the nearest 100. Okay, so you look at the next number, 5. 5, it's a 5, we round up, so it's 1,100. Got it? Round 11,632 to the nearest 1,000. Well, here's the thousands place. So is that going to stay a 1 or is it going to become a 2? The first one we got 1. How about this? Do we want 11 or do we want 12? Well, that's a 6, so we got to go up to 12. 12,000. We round it to the nearest. It's about 12,000. Round 1,525 to the nearest 1,000 again. Okay, is it going to be 1,000 or 2,000? Well, you look at the next place. It's a 5, so we go up. It's going to be closer to 2,000. Okay, and the last one, round to the nearest 100. Well, there are no hundreds, so we're either going to round down to 0 or we're going to go up to 1. Is it 84 closer to 0 or closer to 100? It goes up to 100. 84 is only 16 away from 100. Now, if they had said round to the nearest 10, we would change it to 80 because 4 is less than 5. We go down to 80. But it said round to the nearest 100, so we have to go up to 100. In each of the following pairs, which number is greater? Okay, what's my rule? The alligator eats the bigger number. What's bigger? What's bigger? Well, they both have 300, so you look at the tens next. That's got 4, that's got 3. This one wins. They both have 1,000, but this one has 0 hundreds, this has 100, so they win again. They both have 100,000. So you look at the next place. 2 or 1? 2 wins. Eat that side. See that? Rewrite these numbers from least to greatest, which is the smallest here. So you look. They all have got tens. 2 tens, 1 tens, 4 tens, 3 tens. Least would be 18. And what's next? Did you do it all by yourself? The 2, 23, the 3, 35, and 1, 4, 49. How about these? Well, they all got 1,000. So now I look at the hundreds. 4, 4, 4, 4. They're still tied. Now I look at the next numbers. 29, 20, 32, 25. First, we want to do the 20s. 29, 20, or 25. 20 is the smallest. Now do we want 25 or 29? 25. 29. And now when they're all done, now we can pick, what did I leave out here? 32. 1, 4, 3, 2. Okay. Now we got some word problems. Go ahead, try working on them. Pause your video when you're doing them. See if you can do them right without my help. Okay. Okay, check. I hope you already tried it on your own. When stacking items, the heaviest items to be placed at the bottom, starting at the bottom, which in what order should items weigh? Weighing 45, 40, 50, 48. So you want to know which is the smallest. Which is the smallest? The 40s come before the 50s, and which one's the smallest? 40. So we know it's going to begin with 40. Now, because the test is multiple choice, you don't have to find the answer all the time if you can get rid of other answers. 40, that means this one's wrong, and this one's wrong. We're already done. It's got to be this one. 40, 45, 48, 50. It is this one. Is that right? What do you think? Yes or no? No. Why is it wrong? Because I went quick and I didn't read it carefully. When stacking items, the heaviest item should be placed at the bottom. Starting at the bottom. So should be starting with the heaviest. So I have to go backwards. Let me turn it around. I want 50, 48, 45, and then 40. Is that one there? Here it is. C. Oops. Oops. I made a mistake. Did you catch my mistake? Did you say, what's he doing? He's not reading. Boys and girls, I think I'm teaching first grade again. Ladies and gentlemen. No, when that's one of the most common mistakes there are is you don't read the problem carefully enough. You know, you have to be careful when you read problems and make sure you're doing the answer. And a good thing to do is when you get your answer, just check back and check and make sure you found the right thing. I looked back and I said, wait a second, and maybe they didn't ask for the smallest first, and sure enough they didn't. They asked for the heaviest first. Okay, try number 21 on your own. Make sure you pause it and do it first on your own. Okay, now I'm going to look at it. The odometer on Susan's car reads 98,172.3 miles. When Susan copied the odometer reading onto paper, she incorrectly wrote 5 instead of 8. By how many miles will Susan's recorded number be off because of error? She wrote 5 instead of 8. So where is the 8? Here. So she wrote a 5 there. She wrote 95,172.3. How far off is she? Well, if you subtract them, 0, 0, 0, 0. They're all going to be zeros except that one is going to be 8 take away 5 is what? 3. So you're going to get a 3. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. If you subtract them, I don't know if you saw what I did. All I did is I wrote this number. They had that. Okay, I'll write it bigger here so you can see. This is what they wrote. And they said Susan wrote a 5 instead of an 8. That means she wrote, instead of the 8, she wrote a 5. But the other numbers were the same. So if you want to see how far off she is, you subtract. Everything 0. But 8 take away 5 is what? 3. Don't forget the decimal point. You're going to say the answer is 30,000. The answer is 3,000 because that's in the thousands place. She's 3 off in the thousands place. 3,000. By the way, if you also have the option of doing them and checking the answers in the back. There's an answer key back there somewhere. I did run it off. I don't know why. Right there. You can always check back there your answer. Sometimes the answers are wrong in the answer key. Just warning you. Okay, try this one by yourself. This one's going to take you a while. You'll see why. Pause it and try it because it's going to take you a while. Okay, did you do it? Well, what we're going to do is you're going to read me and tell me how to do it, okay? During which year did Yuletime trees sell the fewest trees? Which year did they sell the fewest? How are you going to figure that out? Does it tell you right here what the answer is? No, because we got 3 different size trees. what do we have to do to figure out how many were sold in 2000? We're going to have to add up the small, the medium, and the large trees that they sold. We have to add them up. Then we add up 2001. Then we add up 2002. Then we add up 2003. Add up 2004. And then what? You see which one's the smallest. That's a lot of work. Let me see if I can do one here at least. Okay, small, 235. 235 plus 620. 620 plus 410. 410 equals 1265. So I'll write that here, 1265. Now I would have to do that to each of these and then see which one is the fewest, that means smallest. You know, but I can look at this one and say, look, it's winning by 10 here, the bottom, 2001, but then it's losing by 10, so it's equal. But then it had 5 more, so this one would be 1270. I just compared them, but it gets harder to compare over here because these numbers aren't close. So then you have to add again if you can't compare. Anyway, try it out, pick a number, and then check it in the back. I'm not going to do it. You would have to add these three, and these three, and then you look for the number that's the smallest, the fewest. Okay? If you want to check that one again, look in the back. And if you disagree and you keep checking and you still disagree, maybe they made a mistake. I don't know. Okay. Do you have to do this? Now listen. I got to make sure, because people don't seem to understand this when they take this class. This class is to help you pass the test. But it doesn't matter if you do all the work if you don't learn it. And if you know something already, it doesn't do you any good to finish the paper because you don't get credit. We don't give you stars. You don't get a high grade. There's no grades or anything. All there is that test you take in the end. You've got to pass it. Now, if you know how to put these less than, greater than, and equal, you don't have to do the whole page. Don't waste your time doing stuff that you know well already. Now, if you don't know it so well, maybe practice it a little. But if you know it all well, you don't have to keep practicing it. Because you know what? You're going to need that time to study things you don't know. Okay? So, if I was doing this, I'd say, okay, 700, 700. 40, they're the same. 9 beats 1. You're the biggest. Crocodile eats you. Okay, 7s, 8s, 9 again is the biggest. You're the biggest. Okay, 6, 1. Oh, they got more 10s. You're the biggest. Boy, they're all like this. 7, 2. Oh, you're the biggest. 1, 8, 9. Finally, this side wins. The 9 beats the 8. Remember, you look at the first, the hundreds. They both have 100. So then you look at the 10s. This one has 9, that only has 8, so now the crocodile eats that one. That says 186 is less than 196. Oh man, you can't even see it. 186 is less than 196. Does anyone have any question on this? Well, if you don't understand it, you're going to have to call me, because to me it's, if you read back, you should be able to figure out how to do them. There are supposed to be some equals. Let me see, can you see any equals? Well, you know what they're if they're equals. You know what they look like. I don't see any, but there's supposed to be some equals. Anyway, if you want, you can do it. But just remember the rule: the alligator eats the biggest one. If I were you, I wouldn't do the whole page unless you really need the practice. Again, there's the answers at the end, and they have them all here. Okay. Let me see. You see any equal signs? I don't know if they put. Can you believe they say put greater? Oh, there's an equal. Whoop. There it is. 405 equals 405. Yay. Okay, we're going to end there, just short of 30 minutes. I don't want to go too long with our videos, okay? Sometimes I'll break the video into 2 videos, okay? If it gets a little long, I'll break it apart into 2 videos. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you understand how to do it. You pause the video, try it on your own, and then if you want to check it, you just run the video. That's it for now. Onward to day 2. Bye.